Hey everyone, welcome in.
Oh,
Here we
hello.
are,
I've
Stephen
already
and
had
Gabe.
2 beers. Welcome in episode
Great.
7, round 7 of the HOP with your boys, Gabe and Stephen. We are back. We are ready. We've got another amazing, spectacular, if I do say so, episode tonight. Stephen, who are we highlighting this time?
We were inspired by last week's episode in the news and notes section, so we're going to be celebrating the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl win, drinking Boulevard Brewing Company out of Kansas City, Missouri. And Gabe's going to get over it.
I will eventually. They're in our division. Good for them. Good for Andy Reid. Great longtime coach. And all he needed was a ring, and he finally got one. So good for him.
Hey, Gabe.
Hey, Steven.
Let's grab a drink. Okay, so we watched the Super Bowl.
We did. We watched the players play the game.
It was way better than last year.
It was way better. Oh God, the score at the end of the first half was more than the entire game last year. So that's a step up at least.
And then the Kansas City Chiefs won the game, and then we bought beer, and we thought, let's give them a shout out. Let's celebrate.
We might as well. And I'm so glad we did. So, as Steven mentioned, Boulevard Brewing Company out of KCMO, as I like to call it.
Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas City, Kansas.
Right.
Did you see that Mr. President tweeted a congratulations to the state of Kansas after they won the game? Whoops.
Swing and a miss.
Oh,
really?
God.
Ew.
Yep.
That's exactly how I feel. Thank you, David and Alexis. Really?
Real quick, if you have not subscribed to the show on iTunes, you are part of the problem. What are you doing?
Yikes.
Get with it. Not that we have a problem, but if you're listening, especially if you've listened to 7 episodes, go subscribe to the show on iTunes already. Get these episodes in your feed without having to look for them, and give us a rate and review because it helps the show. And while you're at it, we are now available on YouTube, which is fun.
Woo!
So all the episodes are up there. If you search for the Hop Craft Beer Podcast on YouTube, you can find us. And if we get 100 of you to subscribe to that, we can get a sexy YouTube URL that doesn't have a bunch of random letters and numbers. So if you could do that, that would be
We can customize it. We can make it say whatever, we want. We can have it say Sexy Dragon Podcast at hop.net for all we care. Right, Steven?
We could.
We can talk about it later.
In theory, we could do that. I don't know that it would really be a means to our end.
But it sure as shit won't help. So we'll think about that later.
I gotta say, when I was starting to research this episode, the first thing I wanted to know was, did 21st Amendment Brewing pay their penance on social media?
Yeah, I looked as well the past few days. Haven't seen anything yet. Where you at, 21st?
No, they surely have not. That brewmaster is supposed to be out there wearing a jersey. Am I right about that? He's supposed to have
It's either a jersey or a shirt of the other brewery. It would be dope if he had Okay, so Mahomes won MVP, obviously. It would be nice if he had a Mahomes jersey on.
So maybe they're waiting on their Amazon package because they probably didn't have Kansas City Chiefs jerseys lying around the brewery.
That's true. And they also, they got to take the photo. They got to give a shout out. It's all well and good. And then they're making a donation to
the Veterans Community Project on Boulevard Brewing's behalf. And then this is cool in the spirit of charity and good things. Boulevard Brewing is still making the donation to 21st Amendment's charity of choice, which is Project
That's
Night
awesome.
Night. They provide night kits to homeless children and children in need. So that's great on Boulevard Brewing's behalf.
That's even better because it's we won, but we'll still throw y'all some money. That's great. Good for you guys.
Everybody wins in this scenario.
Yes.
Should we dive into this news and notes real quick before we get to drink some beer?
Yes, before we do that real quick, we didn't plan this, but as you guys know, we record ahead of time. The Oscars happened tonight, and some good moments, some funny moments. I loved the fact that they didn't use another host because they didn't need it. Huge shout out to my man Joaquin Phoenix, number one, but also to Parasite on making history, the first non-English yeah, I'm saying that right. Non-English movie to win Best Picture.
Yeah,
amazing. Congrats.
they made
Good
history
for you guys.
tonight. That's awesome. They won both Best Foreign Language Film and Best Feature Film. So that's badass. They got to be the best movie twice. That must be a really fucking good movie.
And we're inspired to do hard work, so we said the Oscars are over. Screw it. Let's record.
Let's go drink.
Let's go drink some more.
Okay,
Let's dive in.
In the world of Brewfests, this is exciting. The Coffee, Beer, and Donut Festival is returning to Portland, Oregon for the 6th year in a row. If we have any listeners in Oregon, this sounds dope. You're going to want to check it out. It is Sunday, March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be 13 breweries, 13 roasters, and 13 bakers doing three things that Portland does very well: beer, coffee, and donuts.
Beer and donuts sounds pretty excellent right about now. I'm not going to lie.
It sounds like a perfect combination of things that would just, you might really regret it by like 3 o'clock the afternoon, but
I don't even think so, because the donuts will soak up all the beer, and then you'll just, feel good.
And then you drink some
donuts
coffee
make
to
you
perk
go
you
nuts.
back up. So
yeah, the sugar rush.
There will be Barley Brown's Brewery featuring Sorbinats Coffee, Great Notion Brewing, Lycum Brewing, McMenamin's Brewing, and a bunch of other ones. Also,
Modern
Kuma
Times.
Coffee.
We just drank one of their beer. What did we drink? The ping pong?
Yeah,
that's right.
Kuma Coffee, which is also from Seattle. Mudworks Roastery. A bunch of bakeries. The donut lineup is featuring returning favorites and some first-time bakers, and all of this sounds really cool. I'm not going to be anywhere near Oregon in March, but if you are...
I mean, you say that now, but
I could say that with pretty solid confidence. Although that might be over spring break. Tickets are $35, which is actually pretty cheap, or $45 at the door. And you get beers in 3-ounce pours. I think this sounds dope. I would say go give it a check out if you can. Who doesn't love beer?
Hey, you don't gotta tell me
donuts?
twice. Like, the beer is one thing, but like donuts, I'm there.
And I happen to know, because of friends that have spent time in Portland. Shout out Sarah Masterson. I know she's...
What up, Sarah?
Hey, that there are...
She's not listening to this. She's binging this.
She did binge like
the first 5 episodes?
5 or 6 episodes. But I do know from her that there's some pretty great donut and coffee in Portland, in addition to their beer scenes. So I'm about it.
Moving right along in the beer world, Carol Stout, the first female brewmaster during the post-prohibition era, is officially retiring. She is running the Pennsylvania Stouts Brewing Company. After 33 years, Carol, thank you for your service. She's not listening, but whatever. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time and effort. 33 years of doing this. Holy hell, that's insane. She says it was a difficult decision to make. They're unfortunately not moving enough volume-wise to expand and keep the brewery open, which is a shame. So all the Pennsylvania people out there, go buy this beer because it's running out fast. And we just want to give a shout out to Carol and again to her service for this brewery. And, who knows? Maybe it'll get picked up by someone and it'll expand and open back up. But for the time being, she is hanging up the beer mugs and, I don't know what she does in her spare time. She looks like a moviegoer. Just from the one picture I've seen of her, she can mess you up in the kickboxing.
She honestly
ring.
looks, and I hope this isn't rude, because I don't mean it to be, but she looks like she's going to go teach piano to kids. You know what I mean? She reminds me of that lady in the movie Groundhog Day that teaches Bill Murray to play piano.
Right,
So,
but at the
like-
same time, she's a brewmaster. So if she does teach the kids piano, like if they mess up, she probably like is like, "What the hell's the matter? Like, get it together!" Like she's tough.
She's
Like,
a badass piano teacher.
So thank
That's
you
hilarious.
again, Carol.
Thank you for the beer,
Get
Carol.
your shit together, Carol.
Godspeed in your retirement, and maybe they'll find someone to buy the brewery and they'll stay open. Who knows?
I wish.
And then finally, in the news and notes, there was an extreme beer festival in Boston, and there's no way I'm getting through this episode without talking about it. It's an annual thing. It's the 17th edition. It's hosted by Beer Advocate. It was held at the Cyclorama at the Boston Center for the Arts. And some of the most talked about beers during the early session on this past Saturday were Weldworks Brewing's Hot Sauce Barrel Aged Taco Goza, which is a 4.8% ABV chili beer.
Whoa.
I'm not done yet.
I just got tingles.
Well, buckle in because there's more. Cambridge
Saddle up, saddle back.
Cambridge Brewing Company's Hot Cheetos and Takis, a 4.7% ABV American cream ale.
Now you lost
with
me.
hot
I
Cheetos
just
in it.
Simply.
Okay, and then the longest line was for, we already know this exists, but Samuel Adams has a Utopias. It's a 28%.
Yeah. Chat, it's your boy.
It's a 28%
Samuel Adams, stand up.
American strong ale, which the company will tell you themselves is illegal in 15 states.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It's 28%.
Oh, yes. This is the beer we were talking about.
Mhm.
That, like, we wanted to each get one and just drink that for the evening and just see what happens.
I mean, they'll only give you a 2-ounce pour, and it's going to be like taking a shot, and you're not going to taste anything except booze, but...
So this
I
is the
still
beer,
wanna
like, you
try
can
it so
only get
bad.
this beer in Boston, at Sam Adams, right?
No, they have it. No, they had it in one of the bars in Hamden had it. They distributed it.
Oh, that's where you tried it. That's right.
I have not
we
tried
need to
it.
Go back to Hamden.
I've wanted to try it. I took a picture of
Well,
the menu.
yeah, that's where you told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to try it, but
Wow.
no.
That's right. I forgot. Oh, I forgot about this beer.
But that they had it at the Extreme Beer Fest. Dogfish.
Empty as festival goers waited for their 2-ounce pour.
So this led to this whole
Oh my!
debate about, is extreme beer worth having? But it's also interesting because when you think of extreme beer, you do think of like the Sam Adams Utopias, which is 28% and insane.
Right.
But it's also funny to think of extreme beer being taco flavored and 4.8%. So it's like it's sessionable, it's drinkable. It's just
It might not fall under the
little
category of
scary.
extreme beer, but my first go-to to think about is the Who's a What's It's the Frumpkin. And all of those beers, Avery Brewing Company.
Oh, the Rumpkin.
Rumpkin. I'm so sorry. I said Frumpkin.
The Frumpkin.
The Frumpkin, No, the Rumpkin and the coconut porter. Shut up.
Frumpkin.
I mean, like those kind of beers is what I thought of when it comes to like the extreme side of things.
Why is that so funny to me?
The Frumpkin. I think
The
it's just because I
Frumpkin.
had so much confidence behind it. I was so sure of it, and then you were like, "No." Cool.
Yay! All right.
Don't hit me with the pity yay.
I like the yay works in so many ways. It's such a great soundbite.
You're
really
welcome. I found it.
It's really the only soundbite we need. But we're still going to keep using the other ones.
We should tell people we recorded it, but don't tell them the secret.
It really does sound like us. That's what's
It's
hilarious
weird.
about
I know it's weird. I found it and I was like, did somebody record me in my sleep?
does.
Like I didn't know what to do.
So
Steven,
yes.
I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. We're friends. I feel like I can tell you this.
This is a safe space. It's only you, me, and whoever listens to this.
You look like I need a drink.
Guess what? I have
Guess
a toast
what?
for you.
Oh, he's got one.
And I'm going to need you to bless yourself like you're in church because we're saying a prayer. All right, here we go.
Oh boy, I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. Just bless yourself and get in the spirit of holiness. Our lager, which art in barrels, hallowed be thy drink. Thy tankard come, thy will be drunk. At home, as it is in tavern. Give us this day our foamy head, and forgive us our spillages, as we forgive those who spill beer against us. And lead us not into incarceration, but deliver us from hangovers. Raise your hands, like in church.
Oh.
Hold them up. For the hops, the barley, and the water are yours, now and forever. Barmen.
Our foamy head.
It was really hard to get through that without laughing, I gotta be honest.
Our foamy head. And with that, I feel taller. I feel better about myself. This is the perfect time to have a drink.
Do some drinking. Here we go. All right, so what is the first beer we're drinking here, Gabe?
We are drinking the Calling Double IPA. Let me pour this bitch and let's get started.
So it's a double IPA with Mosaic, primarily Mosaic, Equinox, Galaxy, and Amarillo hops. It pours like a orange, golden color, kind of typical double IPA, not hazy. And it's got like a nice kind of creamy white
This is the, like, when you think of like beer, this is exactly what you see. Like, I've got like the classic beer mug, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's got the foamy head. It's got the yellow goldish color. The bubbles are rising. Like, this is like Google clip art beer. That is what I have in my hand.
The beer emoji is what you have. So it's got an ABV of 8.5%, 75 IBUs. SRM chart you're looking at, I would say around 12-ish. It's got a beer advocate rating of 91 and an untapped rating of 3.91. So smelling it, the hop smell is kind of muted for a double IPA. It doesn't smell like terribly hoppy right off the bat. It's like sweet. There's some...
I immediately am hit with the citrus. Like, do you get like orange and lemony a little bit? Just like it's very, very brief, but it's like it's right there on the nose.
I get like pineapple and grapefruit. Like I get like I don't really get lemon because it's not quite that bitter. It's like a sweeter. It's like the sweet malt side of it, you know?
Oh, okay. Yep, totally.
But I definitely sense the citrus, and then the hops are there. They're kind of muted, and it's kind of a more herbal, earthy smell, as opposed to like a terribly piney hop smell, if that makes sense.
Right. It's not, it's not overbearing in any way.
Right. Okay, yeah, well, there's the hops. When you take that first sip.
Ooh, yeah.
There they are. Yeah. There's those piney,
8.5%. I don't know. Some beers I drink and I'm like, oh, like, I wonder how strong this is. Wow, this is a lot stronger than I thought it was. This tastes like an 8.5. You know what I mean? Like, this, like, yeah, you're getting what you paid for.
Yeah, it's definitely in the world of double IPA. It's like, to taste it, it's kind of minty. Definitely that piney, hoppy spiciness hits you up front.
I'm not feeling minty, but I'm with you so far. Everything else.
Yeah, it's that like zinginess, like
I'm getting the zinginess. I'm definitely getting it's got that crispness, but it's like it's harsh, but in a good way. It's not like like I said, it's not overbearing. It's crispy in a way, and it's just like just enough. It's like, oh yeah, this is like party beer. It's crispy Kringles. I don't know what that was.
As it kind of sits in your mouth, though, like the more it sits in the back of my mouth, it kind of like it takes on a sweetness. There is like a, especially as it warms in your mouth, if you like hold it in there a little bit, it does get sweeter. You get kind of a more of what I was saying with the nose, the like pineapple, the sweet malts that are in there, maybe some honey, maybe even some mango, some of that.
Yeah, I'm just getting hit with a lot of citrus. I'm not. It's weird. It's like it's interesting. I think this is the first time. It only took friggin' 7 episodes, but I think this is the first time that we're both experiencing the same things, but also really different things. Like I'm not getting any of like those kind of fruits, those kind of flavors. I'm just getting like the lemony orange taste to it. Although it's not lemony orange tasting, it's got that citrus back feel to it.
And that could totally be you're in New York, I'm in LA. We bought them in 2 different places. They were probably bottled at 2 different times. Like, God only knows. I mean, I'm not saying yours is skunked or anything, or mine is skunked. I'm not saying anything is wrong with these. I don't think there is anything wrong with them at all. But they're just different experiences of the beer. And also, just because I taste one thing or you taste one thing doesn't mean that the other person has to. It's all subjective. I did want to give a shout out, and by shout out I mean a call out. When I was researching this beer, one reviewer said that this beer had a funky cat pee note, and I just wanted to throw that out to our audience and say, what the fuck?
What do you think that means? Like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you think that means.
The fuck kind of review is that? Oh yeah, I'm really getting that cat pee smell. Fuck. Something's wrong with that beer.
Yeah, that you must have gotten a bad beer, or you know what cat pee smells like, tastes like, and you're not into it. Which, Godspeed. But why do you? Yeah, no, it's not even like he said nasty cat pee. He said funky. Funky is a good way to describe certain beers if it's a sour. Cat pee is not funky. Cat pee is nasty, awful. And if anyone ever describes a beer like that, I will not drink it. I don't get cat pee off this beer, but we'll just take the can and throw it at you really fucking hard.
What the fuck, guy? I'm not going to call him out by name because I didn't take the time to write
Dennis?
it down.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know who it is.
Speaking of cats, this is completely random, but I just want to throw this out. And no, I'm not talking about the movie.
Oh, I thought you were about to.
No, I'm not going to.
They did it on the Oscars. Thank God they recognized.
I'm not going to, but have you seen Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix?
Okay. No, I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer and I was like, oh no. Dude, I was like, I have to watch this, but at the same time, I was like, oh God.
It's really fucked up, and this guy, like, it's really fucked up what the guy was doing, but
it's a documentary, right?
It's a documentary about this guy who, like, did some really fucked up shit to like some adorable kittens. It's horrible. Like,
yikes.
It's so horrible.
Like I said, I saw the trailer and I was like, it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. When can I watch this? Like, it's like a car wreck. Like, you can't look away.
It's fucked up.
So the head of my beer started off real foamy, like an inch of foam. After taking a couple sips, it is dissipated. And I have to say, after taking a few sips, I think my mouth is kind of used to the strongness and the hoppiness of the beer, so I don't really taste it anymore. So it kind of just tastes like a regular beer now.
Yeah, I would say
with the flavor still, but it doesn't taste like, oh man, like this is strong. It's more of like, oh yeah, this is easy.
I guess if I had to put a point on it, this is a strong double IPA. I like double IPAs. I love double IPAs. So it's, it's a double IPA, but it's not like a remarkable double IPA. It's a good.
It's not gonna. It's not going to fix your credit card debt. It won't get you a Valentine's Day
but
date,
it is worth a shot.
But it is worth drinking.
One thing I do fucking love about this brewery, and any brewery that does this, is that they have on their website, they have a whole, like, for every beer, they have a home brewing tab where you can click and basically get the specifics, the profile of the beer if you are brewing it at home. So it'll break down.
That's the thing. They make it compatible with, like, they're like, you want to brew it? Here's how.
So like if
I
I'm
don't-
looking at this, it says like, it's got the specifics, the gravity, the final gravity, the fermentation temperature, what type of yeast they use. It's got the malts they use, all the different hops that are in here, which is the main four that I mentioned, and a whole bunch of other ones, including
Right.
lemon drop hops. And then this is interesting because of what you were saying, Gabe, is that they also have the adjunct spice section where they add whatever they add to the beer. And in addition to dextrose, they also added lemon peel to this. So there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Food pairings: carrot cake, sharp cheddar cheese, strong blue cheese, buffalo wings, and spicy Thai dishes. I am sold. Get this beer.
There's a nutrition info tab, which I'm intentionally not clicking on because I don't want to know. Can't be good.
Oh, wait. I do. I won't say anything.
It can't be good. What's it going to say? Like,
that's all right. It's
filled with protein and
no, it's just
vitamin
it just
A.
has calories and carbs. Okay, how many calories do you think is in this beer?
350.
Lower.
Oh, really? 250?
Close. 232.
Oh, wow. That's
and
less
carbs
than I
is
would have
only
thought.
20.
Well, okay. That
But
could've
like,
been
we're
worse.
not going to look at that because we're drinking beer, and beer is nutritious on its own. Let's go back to the food pairings: buffalo wings, sharp cheddar cheese, strong blue cheese, or if you're in Portland, donuts, apparently.
Or donuts. But definitely
Donuts and coffee.
Definitely a West Coast double IPA, not a New England, right? Definitely clear, citrusy, not hazy, tropical notes.
It's interesting because to fully experience what a New England IPA is, I think you just have to drink it. It's hard to, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to explain, but it's I'm kind of rambling. I'm off on another topic now, but like it's hazy, it's heavier, it's very different. And this is more of like it compares, in my mind, it compares to like, this is like a classic, like, I want like a steady classic beer that's a little stronger than most to get me feeling good where I need to go. The Calling Double IPA. Sold.
Agreed.
You can shower in this stuff. I don't know who's rich enough to do that. Yikes. That's not a soundbite.
That was me showering in the beer.
Okay, so I want to keep drinking it, though. Like, it's not one of those beers where, we have on the podcast and it's like, all right, that was cool, but like, we need to move on. Yeah. No, like, I want like 2 more of these.
I really like it. I mean, I'm a double IPA person. Like, I'm an IPA person, a double IPA person, and it's funny because like I feel like in an effort to make sure that the show is not too IPA centric, because that is like the American standard nowadays, you and I have been really leaning towards stouts. We did the ciders last week, trying to lean towards things that are not sours, But I realized like we really haven't had an IPA on the show in a long time, like since Sierra Nevada. So it's just it's good to be home,
Speaking of which, Sierra Nevada is on tap in bars in Brooklyn. I am the proof of that because I had one the other night. I saw Sierra Nevada Celebration on tap, and I said, "Good sir, please pour me one of those, yes."
Hello, I'll have a celebration.
He was like, "Stop with the accent or get out." And I was like, "I'm really sorry. I'll take a Sierra Nevada Celebration, and can I also close out my tab?"
Why the fuck were you in Brooklyn? Never mind, we could talk about that another time. No shade if you live in Brooklyn. We love Brooklyn.
It's just far. No, I went there. My buddy was doing a show. Shout out to Connor. He's the man. Great job. And then we went out and had 1 or 7 drinks afterward. Before we move any further, I'm going to talk a little bit about this Smokestack series.
Please do.
If that's kosher, like, is that cool? Is that all right? Thank you, random audience we hired for the podcast. So, yeah, basically on Boulevard's website, they've got all their beers, and they're all just kind of in categories. First one is year-round. Pretty much sums it up. You can get them whenever you want. They've got the seasonal beers.
Year-round.
365 days a year. They got their seasonal beers.
In a leap year.
That's right. It's leap year this year.
It sure
Happy
is.
leap year.
Happy long February. Wait to pay rent an extra day. Fuck, where is it?
Happy leap year in this bitch. Shout out to everyone who's got a birthday on leap year. We feel for you. We are so sorry for you.
Because you're like
Moving
4
on,
if you're
they've
20.
got limited releases and they've got all this great stuff. One of these cool things is they've got their Smokestack series. They're all a collection of these like bigger, bolder, complex beers. They're higher in alcohol and they're great for, shipping to a friend or sharing. I'm looking at Whiskey Barrel Stout, Dark Truth Imperial Stout, the Phantom Haze Double IPA. Like, they just came out with a new one. It's called the Tank 7 American Saison. And this calling is part of that series, and I just think it's really cool. And it's not even the beers itself, it's just the name. When I see Smokestack series, my first thought is like, ooh.
Yeah, they have their year rounds and their seasonals. I think, as I understand it, their Smokestack series was really a way for them to kind of get a little bit more playful. Especially, we'll go into the history of the brewery as we always do, and we'll talk about where they began and where they are today. But this is a chance for them to kind of expand into like bigger, bolder flavors, doing things that are more complex, higher ABV. It is just, despite what it may sound like, we don't always tend towards higher ABV beers. This just was a coincidence that we went with these ones. But that is what's available in the Smokestack series, and definitely stuff that appeals to beer drinkers like us. Not really sessionable beers, but definitely what I would call event beers. That's what I like to call them, where they're they're beers that you got to think about, you got to enjoy, you can't just like crush them. You got to like live with them.
There's a huge difference between when there's like beer in my fridge. There's a difference between like, yeah, I'll have this like randomly, or I'll have this with dinner, and then there's beers that it's like, all right, I need time. I need to sit. I need to look at it. I need to enjoy it. And those are the beers that, like, when I have a friend come over and I'm like, yeah, you want a beer? And they're like, can I have this? And I'm like, no, sorry.
But you got to be careful. You can't.
No. Well, what about the bottom? Look in the bottom shelf. You can have any of those. Like, it's one of those.
Any of the Coronas I've got sitting around. You have to be careful, though, because you can't leave these beers lying around too long. Like, literally last night, I had a beer that I've been sitting on for like, I'm not even going to tell you how long. It's too long. But I drank it, and it was like, it just wasn't good. And I've had the beer before, and it is good. It's a good beer. It was a good beer once upon a time. I just let it sit too long, and that'll happen. Like, you just got to be careful about that shit. They also have limited releases where you can get even more interesting stuff, like their Brandyland Spiced Imperial Stout aged in apple brandy barrels, or their Whiskey and Cabernet Cask Imperial Stout, or their Chocolate Ale, or their Love Child Sour Ale. Happy Valentine's Day. Again.
I think this one is new as well. It's called Brandyland. Spiced Imperial Stout aged in apple brandy barrels. Get at me.
Didn't I quite literally just say that?
Yes, but I'm saying it again. Maybe don't get at me. Get at the brewery, because I didn't make the beers.
Should we bounce to beer 2?
I guess so. Ready? I mean, if we're gonna keep it moving, we might as well.
These people don't have all day. They're only going to be at the gym for another 15 minutes.
If you listen to this when you're at the gym, I will personally, I don't know, give you a hug.
Would that be motivating,
because,
or?
God, no. I can't listen to people talk when I'm at the gym. I need music.
I do that all the time. I do listen to
two assholes talking about beer and talking about the Cats movies and the Oscars. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm shutting this off.
All right.
But don't shut us off. Rate, view, subscribe, and all that fun stuff.
All that shit. So for number 2, we have their Bourbon Barrel Quad.
Wow. Wowie wow. I'm ready. Look at this. Look how sexy this beer looks.
Yeah.
It's like reddish. It's got a thick head to it. When you put it up to the light, like, you just see like just this red, like,
Yeah, it's like dark, but not. It really reminds me of the Three Philosophers, which does bring us to an interesting point, which is that
Uh-oh.
this brewery is one of exactly 3 breweries in America that are owned by the collective of Duvel Moortgat, the other 2 being Firestone Walker and Omegang Brewing in New York.
Hey.
So
Everyone right now at home, take a shot of beer.
Bang! Exclamation point!
Thank you, Mike Breen. We appreciate your input.
Yeah, this Duvel Moortgat, I think, over the last 3 weeks has become my favorite
Homeboy's crushing it.
beer conglomerate in America and Belgium, because they're actually not American at all. But okay, this beer.
So obviously we do research about the beer, and everything we've researched for the
smells so much.
Yes, the hit on the nose that you get is just, it's the bourbon, it's the cherry, it's the oak, it's the maple. Like I want it. This might be a cuddle up with Bay kind of beer. I could be wrong, but it's just got all these flavors to it.
This is just the shit. Like, I'm sorry. This is just when I want a good drinking beer. This is what I want, because it's a little bit on the whiskey side. We're whiskey people too, so like this is a beer that I can drink like a beer, but because it's aged in whiskey barrels, like the notes that you get off it, that bourbon, the cherry, the vanilla, the dark fruit, all of that stuff, it just adds so many layers of complexity to the beer.
That spiciness to it.
And I don't mean to be biased against other styles of beer, because other styles of beer I like for other reasons, but when I want to like sit, curl up, watch a movie, like just sip on something for a while, this is...
Wait, ready? Coast to coast clink. We do it every episode, let's do it.
So the first thing I got was like sweetness. I got like caramel, candy, like dark brown sugar, the brown sugar that's in there. And then further back, you get those dark fruits. The bourbon is definitely there. It is boozy, but it doesn't feel like it's nearly 12%. It is 11.2% ABV, but it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't like shoot through you the way the Frumpkin.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't
did.
like the Frumpkin. It doesn't. I'm never gonna live that down. I know that now.
Those people.
It doesn't like knock you over the head. It's just it creeps up on you. But the first I say it, the first thing I get hit with maple, like maple syrup, maple like in the forest. Like you nail. I don't get how it works, but you nail the bucket to the tree, and you have syrup for your pancakes. Apparently, well, I don't farm, so I don't know.
Makes sense though, because like if you dark brown sugar is not a far cry from molasses, which is not a far cry from maple syrup. It's all the same kind of family of flavor profile, I think, and it's all like part of the fact that they have these like toffee malts in there, this sweetness to it, and then you add, as it goes to the back of your mouth, as it sits in the mouth, as it warms up in there, it becomes like you get the oak flavors, you get the barrel, the bourbon, all that stuff kind of settles in.
That caramel, it's got the taste of toffee. Like it's the sweetness does linger, like you said. Like it's just it won't go away, and I'm happy about that because it's very, very nice. I've taken a few sips already. The head is, although small, it is staying. Just a little bit of foam, and it's interesting to see because, most of the beers I won't say most of the beers we drink, but a few in the past, the head's gone away immediately. This one's riding out.
Mine dissipated pretty quickly, but left like a ring around the glass, but I think that's partially the glass I'm drinking out of. The brewery suggests for both of these beers actually 2-lip glasses, which is interesting because I feel maybe me personally, I don't know about you, but I don't see that a lot for beer. Well, you do see it for like IPAs. The thing is, for a beer like this or a beer like the one we were just drinking, for both options, what you want ideally is a beer that has some volume to the glass that is kind of a bulb shape like that, like kind of similar to a wine glass, but that's why they want like a tulip glass.
So it can move around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has some room just kind of swirl around to aerate, to kind of let the flavors of the beer release through the glass so that you get more of the complexity of the beer on the nose, and then also when you take a sip.
I will say this, it's very different from it, but I think one of the reasons why I love this beer so much is because it reminds me of the Two Roads Rosemary's Baby, one of my all-time favorite beers. Like, I absolutely love this beer, and I think it's got the color of it, it's got the head of it, it's got similar taste, although it is very different. It reminds me of it, and I think that's why I'm immediately like, oh, sold. Like,
well, it's
yes,
a complexity.
absolutely.
Isn't that aged in some kind of barrel of some?
That's aged in rum barrels.
Yeah. So it makes sense because it's the complexity of, it's also got those. This has tasting notes of, obviously we've talked about caramel and toffee. But also like Belgian yeast, and you get that clove flavor, spice, maybe a little bit of nutmeg, which you do see in the pumpkin beers. And then when you add the barrel aging to it, that's rum. This is bourbon, but there's absolutely, even though they're vastly different beers, and we know that, there are similarities that I could see how this could be reminiscent of that, food pairings.
I'm feeling right.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Oh, boozed up, Got to get up very early in the morning. It's fine. Not nervous about it.
Who cares?
I'm doing it for y'all.
You'll get coffee. You'll be fine. That's what I did this morning.
Bacon wrapped dates, dark chocolate torte, and strong cheese.
Of course. Why the hell not? Why wouldn't you, Stephen? Stephen, why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I mean, that is a very specific food pairing.
Apparently, they are to die for. I had dates once when I was like real young. My dad was like, "It's a date," and I was like, "That we're not on a date." Like, what? And he was like, "No, you moron, eat this." I was like 10. Yeah, it's interesting to see how many beers go with. Apparently, cheese is like the go-to.
Well, cheese is especially stronger cheese has an acidic flavor that I feel like would really cut.
Right. So it pairs well. Yeah.
Well. So
okay, let's see. Hold on. Okay, carbs are the same, 20. Calories, it's a little bit more. What do you think?
300.
Lower.
280.
Yes, 283.
Boom.
Which isn't bad. You drink one of these, you go, you run 2 laps, you'll be fine. That math doesn't add up. Don't follow me for fitness advice. Please, God. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But this is I would argue, and feel free to disagree, but this is like we said, the Calling IPA was like a solid beer, but not remarkable. This, I don't know. This might be on the remarkable list, at least for this brewery.
I'm a big fan. It's just it's in my wheelhouse. If you're someone who likes this kind of stuff, this is definitely a solid option. And it's a complex beer from a great brewery that you can get a lot of, that you can get relatively easily. They distribute to, I believe, 41 states as well as internationally,
nice.
And you can get your hands on it, and it's going to give you a lot of complexity. It's not, it's not something that every brewery has to offer. So I think it's a great one. Just the stats, ABV, I mentioned 11.2%. IBUs are 26. It is not a very bitter beer at all. The SRM chart, it's clocking in around 76. Untapped, it's got a rating of 4.03 and a Beer Advocate user rating of 95. It's a solid, well-balanced quad.
You will make friends at a party with people you don't know are there if you bring this beer. Calling it now.
Amen. Boulevard Brewing, we mentioned they are in Kansas City, Mo.
KCMO.
They were founded
Stand
by
up.
John McDonald, who went on vacation to Europe in 1984, sampled a bunch of Belgian beers, kind of became obsessed with it. He went to art school. He did a bunch of things, but then he got into home brewing and then started this brewery. And he set out to change the normality of the American beer game. The early 80s, I mean, at this point, craft beer is just starting to become a thing, right? And we've talked about in the past how there was kind of Anchor Steam and Sierra Nevada and a bunch of, breweries starting to change the game in terms of craft beer, but there wasn't the vast array of beer options, especially craft beer options that we see in America today.
Especially in America.
Yeah.
He wanted to like really shake things up America because he was finding all these stuff, all these cool beers like all over the world. And so he wanted to bring it back home, really liven things up and really shake things up. And so he did just that.
So he said, I want to make big beers, a variety of beers with color and flavor and aroma and body, beers for real beer lovers. Obviously the classic Pilsners of the world, the Coors, the Bud Lights, all those things are great for the people who like them. He wanted to make beers with a little bit more complexity, a lot like what we're drinking now. And so Boulevard Brewing was born.
He is really a go-getter and an innovator. Just to kind of dive into like kind of who he was. I mean, he lived and worked in an old brick building on the Southwest Boulevard that had once housed the laundry for the Santa Fe Railroad. I mean, he did everything he could to really make this a possibility. And in November of 1989, they had their first pale ale. It was ready to go. If you haven't seen pictures of this brewery, it's huge, but it's also incredible looking. And in 2006, just to give you an idea, in 2006, a $25 million expansion project brought a new building with 150-barrel beer house, packaging halls, offices, hospitality spaces, all stuff like that. He didn't want to move because investors told him originally, they said, you're getting bigger. We need to, consultants basically requested that he move to another location, but he realized everything he did for the city itself. So he said, you know what, why don't we just stay here and expand with what we have? And he's just been a powerhouse ever since. You can have your wedding at this brewery.
You sure can.
Stephen,
they have a ton of event spaces. Yes.
We're getting married at this brewery. Calling it now. Let's go.
Gabe, I'd
Yes.
marry you at this brewery.
Bro, why the hell not? Like, we're bros, right?
We're bros. We're bros. We're single.
We're bros. We're single. We got
We
nothing
don't have
going
better
on. Screw
options. Let's get the tax write-off. Let's do this.
it. They've got venue halls. They've got a Heim room. They've got a brew house bar. They've got a suite, which accommodates up to 225 guests. They've got a tap room. They've got a tasting room. They've got a rec deck. They've got a patio. They have tours. This brewery is enormous. Like, why? Yeah. What the hell? And I do have to say, although I am still a little bitter, they're in our division. I will give them this. They've got the Chiefs flag hanging proudly. And honestly, respect. Respect Boulevard. Respect Kansas City. That's dope.
Maybe you'll have Tom Brady next year. Thoughts? You're right. We don't need to get into it.
Well, I'll take him. I really want Teddy Bridgewater, but that's another conversation. Continue.
That would be dope. Yeah, so they expanded, big time, and they have an amazing facility now. And again, they have, because they recently rebuilt, we get to talk a lot about sustainability, huge part of their brewery as well. They have a zero landfill facility. Almost all of their waste, entirely, 100% almost, is recycled or composted. Anything remaining that is not recycled or composted is incinerated to generate energy. So 100% of their waste is repurposed. They are a zero landfill facility. They started the Ripple Glass program, which revolutionized glass recycling in the Kansas City area. They have they're largely solar powered. They added a 200 kilowatt photovoltaic array. Those would be solar panels on top of the canning
$1 million
facility
word
in 2019, which also allows them to offer free electric charging for electric vehicles for their customers. They have a green roof, so a bunch of plants on the roof, which absorbs rainwater but also produces oxygen and helps to insulate the building, so it reduces their air conditioning and heating costs. They have a zone-controlled HVAC system, plenty of natural light. So they have a whole bunch of different measures in place to ensure that their carbon footprint is reduced as much as possible.
I have to say, not just with this brewery, but with most of the breweries we covered, I'm a little, first of all, I'm very amazed, but I'm also a little surprised how many breweries are recycling, composting, like doing everything necessary, like kind of for the environment. Like, it's kind of amazing to see. Like, I never thought, I didn't think they wouldn't do something like this, but my first thought wouldn't be, oh, like they have their recycling and they're composting and all this stuff. Like, I never, like, it's so cool to see that from so many breweries, especially the ones that we cover. Like, we don't, excuse me, we don't know ahead of time that they're doing this. I mean, we pick a beer and we're like, let's highlight this company, let's highlight this beer, let's move forward. We do our research and then we find great stuff like this. And it's like, it's so freaking cool, man. Like, it's just awesome.
Well, I think that it goes back to what we've talked about in the past, which is that brewing in and of itself is a agricultural process that requires farming. It requires taking from the earth. It requires, and it's an artistic endeavor as well, right? So they are.
I'm just having an emotional moment. I'm sorry.
They're taking from the earth, and a lot of these breweries, you know, the ones that do it really well, like many of the ones that we've covered, see their way to giving back to the earth, and I think that that's great. And when they get, you know, to become, I mean, Boulevard Brewing is a staple of the Kansas City community. It's a staple of the area. It's Kansas City, Missouri is a huge metropolitan area, and Boulevard Brewing is one of the largest brewers in Kansas City, and they are in the heart of the city. You know, they're a staple of the city. So things like their Ripple Glass program are a way of them giving back to, not only giving back to the earth, but giving back to just their community. There wasn't a way to recycle glass in Kansas City in this way, and now they have this program that like goes out and collects. You know, they have a pickup process where they'll come and pick up your recycled glass and things like that. So they were sick of being part of the problem, and they became part of the solution.
And on top of all that, you can play bingo. They've got tours available, certain fun events like bingo. Tours are 45 minutes each, $5 each. Each ends with a sampling in the tasting room for normal tours. They have private tours. This is something I thought was really cool. They have food pairings with beer tasting. So basically, they'll break out a beer and they'll tell you what goes good with it, and then you get to eat it. They have after hours tours. I mean, they have everything imaginable. They've got Fling Craft cocktails. These are canned cocktails that they make at the brewery, and they've got their own seal. It's still Boulevard, but it's known as the Fling. They've got, we're looking at blood orange vodka soda, cucumber lime gin and tonic. We're looking at a Mai Tai. We're looking at
lime gin and tonic. Yeah, I heard
lime gin and tonic. Did I say? Okay, well, also yes. I mean, don't put it past them. Also yes. I mean, they've got these things that it's just like the coolest thing in the world. That it's not. They don't just make beer. They make stuff for everyone. And so, if you're looking to get a little more smashed than off a beer, you've got options.
Yeah, and they don't currently offer gluten-free beers, but they do have a seasonal cider, so that's cool. They also have the cocktails, which are gluten-free, so they offer something for everybody. We did mention before that they're members of the Duvel Moortgat family. When asked if they're a huge company, part of a huge conglomerate like an ABI, they said that they think of Duvel Moortgat as a collection of little jewels compared to the global mega brewers. Their combined production.
They think of him as their god.
I mean, to me, Duvel Moortgat is little jewels. Honestly, Firestone Walker, Omegang, and Boulevard Brewing are there 3 in America. I'm with it.
Not bad.
Bang! Exclamation point!
And then in 2016, they also commissioned Cellar 5, which is a 3,600 square foot building home to 1,000-barrel fermentation tanks, increasing their fermentation capacity. You know, this is like what we were talking about with Area 2 and Two Roads.
Right.
They basically have a huge facility now where they can do a whole lot of sours, barrel aging, and then they also have a giant canning hall, a 24,000-foot canning hall, so they can speed up their canning line, able to produce more. They have a lot going on. They're fucking killing it in the Kansas City area, and next time I'm in Kansas City, which it took me 26 years to get there the first time, but next time I'm there,
Pat Mahomes has somewhere to drink after that Super Bowl win.
We have to bounce.
We do have to bounce, but before we do, we like to end this episode on a fun little caught our eye topic. And what better than to talk about than the Oscars themselves? And now with the Oscars, what I thought was really cool was they have their own drink of choice. They've got a champagne. It is called the Piper Heidsieck Champagne. It's served at the Oscars for the 6th time. So at this point, it's kind of become the staple of the Oscars. 1,500 Magnum bottles. That's 8,500 glasses poured. It's a very fruit-forward champagne at 12%. And apparently at the Oscars, everybody gets shitty on it. Like, it's just the talk of the town. It's the way to go. And I don't blame them. You're at the Oscars. You're celebrating. Pop that bitch.
Did you see the Parasite guy, the guy who directed Parasite, which, complete aside, shout out to his translator. That girl needs her own TV show because that girl was working her ass off tonight.
I said it at the party I was at. I said, why doesn't she have a trophy? She's out here killing it.
That girl has been working her ass off for not even just tonight, the whole award season. Like, this girl was at the BAFTAs, she was at the Golden Globes, she's running all of. I hope she got a raise. But what I was getting
I was just about to say that.
What I was getting at was, every time he went up there, like the first time he went up, I think he won foreign film first. So then he was just excited and he said, "Thank you." And then he came up like 3 more times because they kept winning awards. And every time he went up, he was like, "We're going to get drunk tonight." Like, literally that. He just kept saying that.
Yeah, my man.
It's like, damn, those South Koreans are getting down tonight in LA.
That's what I'm saying. And I guess, I mean, obviously when they're there, because at the Golden Globes, they're all at table, champagne's on the table, and it's like they have dinner, I guess, or whatever. But like at the Oscars, they're in the theater. It's kind of like the before after thing. But I mean, obviously the after party, especially if you're a winner, holy hell, Brad Pitt's probably drowning in champagne right now. But the other thing that's crazy is they have gift bags for the nominees and obviously the winners. The gift bags for the Oscars are valued, listen to me now, are valued at $225,000, including trips, hotel stays, cosmetic treatments. There's some mention of a yacht. I mean, it's absolutely insane. You can literally, okay, so one gift basket, a 12-day trip for 2 on the Scenic Eclipse. What's the Scenic Eclipse? It's basically an ultra-luxury yacht, and it'll take you to the Antarctic coast. And it's just, it's valued at $78,000 according to Forbes. It's basically like a cruise ship just for you. I mean, they've got treatments and cosmetic procedures. They've got like a 2-night luxury stay at a high fancy resort in Mexico. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, screw the damn trophy. Give me one of these gift bags.
No, that's why they're always out there like just to be nominated. It's like, yeah, because you got a gift bag.
It's like, yeah, because you're going on a cruise in 2 days.
That's not a gift bag. That's like a wedding present. That's like all your wedding presents, and like you won Wheel of Fortune and
at the same time.
Like all rolled into one. And these are like the richest people in America. Well, not all of them. Like, shout out to the costume designers that get to take a nice little vacation now. Because I guess I think of like Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm like, well, he just gave that whole speech about our carbon footprint. Then he's going to be on a yacht. Brad Pitt doesn't need someone to give him a fucking yacht. He probably has a yacht. But then I remember like, oh, there's like the visual effects award winners, or like the best documentary short people, and they're like just normal filmmakers. And of course, I mean, you and I are actors. We know the hardest working people in the building are the stage managers, the costume designers,
the people who aren't in the spotlight.
Are not us. So
we see you.
Follow the show at the HO Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. We are also on Facebook. You can follow us on there. You can subscribe to us on YouTube now.
We are now on YouTube.
But most importantly, please rate and review and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. It is so important. It helps the show. It helps us get out to other people, and that makes the show better for you. Also, if you have beer suggestions, send us an email at thehopod@gmail.com. After the cider one, we got some interest. We have to do a Vermont episode now, which we will do, we promise.
Vermont's got great beer. Yes, hit us up through the email address. Hit us up through the apps, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those things. Let us know what you want us to drink. We will listen to you. We will drink it for you. We did the cider specifically because we had a few people ask for it, and we said, all right, let's do it. Let's give the people what they want.
And we're going to do it again. So
we're here for you. So
connect with us. Connect with us, keep us going, keep us out here. If you value what we're doing at all, if you're into this, engage with us and keep us here because we want to stay with you.
Go support the brewery. And with that, we are getting the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you guys.
We appreciate it for round 7.
See you next week. Cheers.
Pepper needs new shorts.